don't go to Palestine at that time. The English
Didn't let you.
would stopped.
So Ellen made the best choice.
Yes, but Emil gave the money
Gave the money for what?
for her to go to Israel to get in.
Yeah.
They were already married, no?
No.
Yeah, they were married
They
already.
were married.
Who?
Ellen
and Erich.
When they came to Israel?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
But they were not. I remember that she told me my father gave us the money to go. Yes, she studied in Switzerland first.
1 year.
Studied in Germany, and then
In
she
Switzerland.
couldn't finish in Germany, so
Well,
she
my
went
father,
for 1 year
my father who took
to Switzerland
yes,
for 1 year, and she had all the exams in Switzerland.
Yes, but to go into Palestine, the English needed accepted people with money.
Yeah.
And Emil gave the money.
She didn't tell me about this, but I think she was already married to her.
That I don't remember, but anyway. Without money you couldn't get in.
Yeah. But her husband already was there for a year or so.
Maybe.
In Palestine, yes. Working and finding a job and a house and everything. She came a year after him.
But I remember that there was a question of money.
Could be. Maybe.
Yeah, Emil was quite wealthy.
Yes.
Yeah, he was.
Sure.
And Erich was there.
C'était une famille assez nombreuse.
Oui.
Il y avait de l'argent. Après les photos que j'ai vues, c'était pas pauvre.
Non.
Il faudrait éteindre la lumière.
Hein?
Non, rien.
Moi, je peux éteindre.
Nous, on est en rouge, mais c'est des dangers de bétail.
Comment on est en rouge? C'est raison de plus d'éteindre.
Nous, on est en rouge dessus.
Hein?
Where did your father serve in the First World War?
In the German army.
Yeah.
Also,
Emil had.
He had a cross of.
Also, Emil did.
Yes.
Emil was also in the.
Actually.
Yeah. And where did he serve there? Where did he fight?
Well, he was a telegraphist. He said he was on the battlefield with the thing on the back and big antenna. And said everybody was shooting at me all the time because he had the antenna.
The antenna.
Yes. No, but he had the cross of a good. I don't know how they call that in Germany.
Sign of honor or something like that.
But when Hitler came, they told him that didn't help. Many Jews said, "I have this. How can you do it to me?"
I think I once told you that the way Ellen told me that when they deported her from the medical school in Berlin,
yes,
Emil came. They deported her because they, with the excuse that they saw her on a communist demo. You're a communist, so we don't want you. This is why they deported her from medical school. And Emil came, and he talked with the headmaster of the school. He said, "Come on, you see me? I'm not a communist. I'm a capitalist. I am a capitalist. How can you say that my daughter is a communist? Or why you say something like that?" And the headmaster of the school said, "Mr. Sternberg, I have family and kids that I need to take care of. This is what I have to do." What an amazing pressure all Germany went through when millions of people were standing in the... Recently I saw some colored pictures, amazing, from the Nazi time, 1933, 35, 37. When you see, they had some kind of special technique to take photos in colors.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I guess it was the beginning of taking photos in color. Amazing pictures. You see crowd of millions in Munich, I think, standing and welcoming Hitler.
Yes.
Millions.
Elle est finie la série des Juifs en France, non?
C'est le week-end.
C'est le week-end?
Oui, c'est pas la semaine. Il le repasse, mais le samedi ou dimanche.
Ah oui.
Non, on avait l'équipe d'Albert Kahn le matin qui sont là-bas.
Tu peux me donner un petit bout de gâteau encore? Hein? J'ai un creux.
J'ai figurine avec des légumes, c'est dans la table. Les
Ah
assiettes
bon?
sont sur la table, c'est juste à te servir.
Ah, mais c'est vrai, je suis déphasé.
Oui.
C'est le repas de midi maintenant.
Non, je sais pas. Ça catatera.
Ben, ils ont mangé, oui.
Ils ont déjeuné à midi et demi.
Are you hungry?
No.
Oh, we just finished. Well, it's something. You're going to sit and eat?
You're going to
Help yourself. All is in the kitchen.
Well,
Just-
I have to eat something. Il y a Serge Cotin là-dessus qui doit être professeur à la retraite maintenant.
I think during war, something else than immigration during, not during war, when you have economic reasons or something like that. It's something else.
No, that's all at that time. Whenever the Germans advanced, everybody, like rats getting out of a boat.
But
the daughters came to France afterwards for a while.
was it
Was it what?
was it legal to come to Palestine at the time? Was it easy to go to Israel? Like Ellen did. Ellen
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
The only thing you needed was a little money.
Some money, that's all.
When the English were there, they didn't want any. They wanted people with money to come in. And I remember Ellen's father, Emil, gave her the money to come to Israel. The brother was very unreliable person. He was, I think he was in jail sometimes.
In jail? I never heard of it.
He was in jail because of the money, I think.
Yes. It was.
He had debt because he gave the money to the bank and he left.
He was called Ernst.
Yeah.
Yes.
It
was a bad sheep family.
You know that he had
Different wives.
A wife.
The dad is a lawyer in Gedera in Israel.
Yeah.
But now I remember when we were still just beginning of the war, he lived with us because we had everybody had to leave Paris at the beginning of the war.
Yeah.
He didn't know. So we went near Angers and we lived with them. And I gave lessons to Dan.
Where did you live together?
In Angers, near Angers.
Angers. In France?
Yes.
The south of France? Where is it?
No, not south of France. It's on the Loire.
Oh.
It's between Paris and here.
I see.
And Joseph was in Noémie for a few months. Then they went.
So you missed the option to be an Israeli?
Yes.
Missed the option.
My father, because we had the option to go to Argentina.
He didn't want, at that time I think there was no medical research in Palestine.
No. Oh no.
And there's so many doctors came at those days.
Yes, it was.
Thousands of medical doctors came from Germany to Israel.
Yes.
Hundreds.
And there was
no work.
No work for them, yeah. Ellen worked for lots of time without money, without getting paid.
It's always difficult to change countries. They're never really accepted in another country.
But I think I once told you that Ellen told me the first minute she came with a ship to Jaffa.
Yes.
And went down to the seashore where her husband Erich was waiting for her. The minute she stepped on the shore, she felt, this is my country. Something she didn't feel even in Germany. This is her country. She came there.
Because she was very German.
Yeah, of course. She was very German till the end of her life. She was very German. But she felt this is her country. Where all the postman is a Jew and
yes. That was for us quite not didn't realize that.
So for how many years you've been in Argentina?
Oh, 3 years.
What? 3 years?
I was in...
This is high school time for you?
Yes, I was in the French high school and the American high school, since we knew we would go to America where my father was.
Yeah. And your mother didn't work at that time?
No, she could. No.
And you had some connection, family there or something?
Well, we had our good friend, Dr. Fari, whose wife was born in Argentina.
I see.
And that's why we went with them. No, we had Dr. Fari and his wife. We knew nobody else there. Then we were in a pension, sort of little hotel pension, where there were only German Jews.
Not a lot were able to escape.
Yes, they lived there. The landlady, she was very nice, was also a German Jew, directed the hotel. So
you stayed there till 1942 or so?
No, 1940, 41 till 43. Since I arrived in America when I was 18, and they drafted me nearly immediately.
To the army?
Yes. As a friend, we call it as a friendly foreigner.
Yeah. They needed a lot of... And so you served in the American army?
Yes, didn't I show you the picture?
No. No, not now. I will...
It's on my desk.
No, I'll... So, and what did you do in the American army?
Well, at first I did the training.
Training, of course.
Which was... I remember I lost so much. It was in Georgia. And the climate was very hard.
Cold.
In Georgia?
Hot.
No, we sweated and sweated and sweated.
Really? Georgia?
South of, it's very south.
I see.
And I remember I lost I don't know how many kilos. And we were...
What was the training for? What did they...
infantry.
What's the name?
Infantry, ordinary soldier.
Ordinary soldier.
They didn't know.
Which one?
And then I asked, and I was transferred to the Free French. And it was just the end of the war. It fell together. Otherwise, they would have sent me to Japan.
Yeah.
I like it.
And how was to serve in the American army? Was it very tough?
Very tough.
Very tough.
The training is, I don't regret it because the way that, I mean, that I could do it.
Very strict, a lot of orders and...
Not only that, it's a training. Get up at 6 or 7 in the morning and all the time running, all the time...
For how long it was the training?
It took about 3 months.
3 months?
Yes, 3 months. And I have a thing that I'm officially a rifleman.
You never use it, huh? So you came to the Free France?
Yes. And that brought me to Paris, where they put me in the reserve in the, you know, Les Invalides, you know, the big Les Invalides, you know, the museum and the, it's just in front of the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, there is a,
yes.
I remember, very big building.
Yes, it was very old and they put me in there with, we were 3 or 4, they didn't know what to do with us.
But you had the language. Most of the soldiers didn't have the language.
Yes, I had the language, but they had no use at that time. Or I had to sign that I would go to Indochina. That was the beginning of the war with Indochina.
Oh.
I had no desire to go there.
Yeah.
So I didn't sign that. So they kept me till I don't know what reason. Then suddenly I could sign my discharge, honorable discharge.
So for how long you've been in the army? Year, 2 years?
No, not so long. A year and a half. I mean, 6 months training with the American Army, then 2-3 months, and then the French Army 6 months maybe. I came back on the Queen Mary.
How did you find Paris when you got back?
Well, the first thing, I saw my aunt, Tati.
Yeah, I remember her.
And Kurt, they were in Paris.
Yeah.
And they were very happy because I had the right to go to the PX.
They stayed in Paris through the war?
No. They escaped. They were in a camp.
In a camp?
First, the French put all the Germans, Jew or not Jew, in the camp.
Where?
They did. In Gurs.
Okay.
Gurs is southern France. Afterwards, they put the Spanish soldiers there when they came over from the Pyrenees and gave them over to the Germans. Very nice.
Yeah. So how she...
Then they could leave this camp, and then they found somebody with money that took them to Switzerland, over the mountains on foot.
Oh, I see. This is what you told me, yeah.
Yes. And in Switzerland, the Red Cross
adopted
took them over.
Yeah.
Then we sent money. We knew when we were in Argentina with my mother at that time. When we heard they were there, we sent money. And well, they staged the war over there. But when they found their apartment back in Paris afterwards. And they had he organized a little how do you call that, a little atelier to cut furs and so on. And my mother worked there.
Yeah, I remember it. They both were sewing furs.
Yes.
My grandmother, not Ellen, the other grandmother I had from the side of my father, she also worked in sewing furs, you know. Mm-hmm. There was a small business in Tel Aviv that they were mending furs and
it was very usual for Jews at that time many had no education.
True, yeah.
The Polish Jews they were very poor generally.
And how did the French people adopted the Americans after they suffered from the German regime before? You as an American soldier in Paris? How did you feel?
I was.
You felt loved, or in Paris?
Yes, sure. And then the interest. I had access to the PX. You know you don't know the PX, the shop where the American Army had
special shops.
Special shops where you could buy whatever you. So I had chocolate and I had milk and I had everything that people needed.
Yeah.
I gave Tati and Kurt where
some food and.
I gave them lots of things.
The Americans at that time were so rich in front of the other world. They were
very rich.
Amazing rich. And when your mother returned to Paris and your father?
Well, they both lived first in America.
Yeah.
Then,
where they lived in America?
Well, 49th Street. Very nice apartment.
In Manhattan?
Yes, a penthouse.
Wow.
Where I lived when my father left, 47. And my mother followed. And then my father died in 47.
But he died already in Paris, no?
Yes. 47.
In 47 he came back to Paris.
Yes, and nearly died from this neglected appendicitis. Big doctor's fault. He had a doctor who worked with him who didn't make the diagnosis. And then it was too late.
What did he die from?
Appendicitis.
Ah, something that
neglected.
How old was he?
Nearly 50.
So it probably was appendicitis. Don't you think it was a tumor or something? Because appendicitis is 50.
Well, he had a peritonitis. There were no antibiotics at that time.
Yeah, but appendicitis is 50 is not common. So 50, can you have a tumor?
Oh, why he had that? I cannot tell you.
I'm not sure it's appendicitis.
Everything is possible.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a very acute thing.
Yeah.
Happened in a few days.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my mother came with me.
Where you've been in that time?
At that time I was studying in Argentina and I was in high school. No. 47, no.
It's after the war already, yeah.
No. 47 I was at NYU at
You returned to America to learn?
Yes, but I didn't have the French baccalaureate. So to study in France afterwards, I needed a BS, I needed a BA, bachelor, from...
So you returned to made the college in...
I made a college in America, at NYU, and my mother came with me and said, Father is dead, don't come. She wanted me to finish my studies, I remember that. She had a very hard time.
Yeah. The people that were born after the big war and don't know what a rough time it was for the people that lived through those days, for the Nazi days and the war later, and even in Israel that we had so many wars, it's not compared to the...
It's a different situation, yes.
Totally different.
Look, I came back to Paris and I don't know, my father, when we left, in 1940, we left the whole story. We left with Zogu. I told you that, no?
With Zogu, no?
Zogu, who was the dictator and the...
in Albania.
Yes, of Albania.
Yeah.
Zogu the first.
Yeah.
And my father was treating his sister.
She was ill?
Yeah, well, she had cancer.
Oh, I see.
And so he took us with him. When we fled Paris, we fled with his escort.
Yeah. And
he had a Mercedes, which Mussolini had given to him. And then I remember the little card, behind the car was the treasury of Albania on it.
And he fled to Argentina also?
No, he fled to England.
Oh.
But the English but still he was in France. So we had to find a boat, a ship, so we traveled with him. I remember German bombed us. Then I found myself in a ditch.
Really? Where did they bomb you?
Along the road.
Along the road
yes,
to the south of...
je veux manger un peu.
She wants to eat. She's hungry.
Do you want something?
I will sit with you and eat something, yes.
Yeah.
Just you want?
Yes.
On the way down to the south of France, the German bombed you from airplanes.
Voilà.
Yes.
So it was
and
risky.
It was mixed with all the people that were all the flow of people, cars, everything mixed up on a small road just to get out of Paris.
Yeah.
So we were with Zogu, and on the trip my father met, he was treating a lot of people. He was treating the consul of Argentina in Paris, Mr. Sotomayor. Mr. Sotomayor, there's a bank called Sotomayor.
Yeah.
And he said, look, if you need me, I'll be at the Hotel Miramar in Biarritz for a few days. And when we arrived in southern France, Zogu told my father, look, I go to England. If you want to come with me, you come. And my father decided that he preferred to go to Argentina. So...
Why do you think he preferred Argentina?
Because the war, it was far from the war.
I see.
And he thought his family would be more safer.
Yeah.
And then we just had an identity card, French identity card. We had been naturalized very short time ago. And then at the Hotel Miramar in Biarritz, this Mr. Sotomayor, he took our identity card and he put a visa for Argentina on the identity card. So we fled to Buenos Aires.
And where did you get on the ship?
Wow. No.
Wait
a minute. Oh, you put me a question. I think it was Bordeaux, yes.
Non, c'est au Portugal.
Lisbonne.
Ah, wait a minute. So,
Pour aller en Argentine. T'as eu le visa pour passer.
She's right. No, we got we had to get a visa to get out of France.
I see.
And the man that took over, comes back. The man that took over the clientele of my father and his office was Mr. Audet. He was colonel, or I don't know what. And his brother was General Audet. I don't remember the small story, but the Germans had occupied very soon a little part of Norway.
Yeah.
And General Audet was a man who took French troops. I think it was already a question of having an atomic industry in that place. And he took troops to try and take the Germans out of Norway. He was an important general. And he went to, brother went with my father to Vichy and got us a permit to get out.
To get out of France,
yes.
To go to Spain, or
no. He got a permit to go to Argentina because of very important research which my father was doing. So
it's a story of a lot of connection, and here you meet someone that's doing a favor for you.
Absolutely. It's a question of luck to meet this train of people to meet the consul of Argentina. And he opened the consulate I remember the whole Hotel Miramar in Biarritz for one day, just for my father. He opened the consulate, put us a visa in, and closed the consulate.
But people around the Jews felt how they are deeply in need to get some help. People felt it, I think.
Maybe, but at that time the French were in such a awful position that they were bombed, the army was destroyed, and you had people, soldiers who were more or less out of their regiments all over. Because everything was a mess.
Yeah.
And just to find a car or gasoline or anything, it was country was completely disorganized.
Yeah.
Before the Germans occupied it. Everybody was trying to get out, to get somewhere here or there, and even the non-Jews tried either to go to the family away from Paris. Everybody was thinking Paris would be bombed, and but it was very little. It was bombed one day only. When they bombed the Renault factories on the Seine.
So you get to the ship to Argentina from Portugal?
Yes.
Lisbon or something?
Lisboa. remember when we crossed Spain.
You crossed Spain with a train?
With a train, yes.
And
the train was, the locomotive was so old. When it was going up, he took half of the train to get over, came back and took the other half. Getting back. Yes. But and luckily I remember the people selling watermelons along the train. That was wonderful. Because we were thirsty, we had nothing. We had another adventure when we left Buenos Aires after my father took him.
And at that time you are 16, something like 16?
Yes. I was 18 when I left Argentina, and when we finally got the visa, it took a long time for my father to get the visa for us to come. And there we took a boat.
You waited in Lisbon for a long time to get the ship?
No, not Lisbon, in Buenos Aires.
No, I'm talking before you get into...
No, not very long. I have no memory of that. Maybe 1 month or something like that.
Month in Lisbon, just waiting for the ship?
Yes, but we had the visa, so there was no big problem.
And where did you stay? In a hotel or?
Yes.
It all cost a lot of money to wait in a hotel for a month. It's a lot of money.
I don't think we had much. I think my father didn't have much money. I think no.
And what was
No, we were helped.
Yeah.
No. Dr. Fari helped us a lot. We were with him. And his wife, who was born in Argentina, they stayed with us for some time. They had to wait for the boat too.
Yeah.
And I think he helped my father with money. My father had debts. I don't know if he ever gave the money back or not. They stayed friends, so I think that things were arranged afterwards.
Yeah.
But
and then you got on the boat for 10 days all the way to Argentina.
Yes.
What was the condition on the boat?
Oh, very good. We didn't work when we were not in first class, but we had a cabin.
Yeah.
Had a cabin.
And there was food and...
on the boat? Yes. But Portugal was not occupied.
Yeah.
Portugal was, you had everything. Where's the cat?
Outside.
Oh,
I'll open it.
Yes. He knows where to go. Yes. We had the second adventure when we left finally in when was that? 44. Finally left Argentina to America. I was 17.
In Buenos Aires, you lived in an apartment. You had an apartment.
No, we had a room in a pension. Some sort of hotel. Residence.
For 3 years you lived in a room in a pension?
Yes.
Okay.
We didn't have an apartment, and maybe 2 years and a half.
You felt all the time that you are temporary in...
oh yes, sure. We were waiting for visas to America.
Yeah.
My father was not with us. He was already...
he came to Argentina and very quickly went to...
Yes, because his sponsor, Mr. Werther, I cabled him to come. I gave him a visa. He was had lots of very important man. You know, the director of Chanel, Bourgeois, and so on. He was at ease in America. He was at ease everywhere.
Yeah.
So No, my father went to America, and we thought we would come immediately, but then there was 41 Pearl Harbor, and the Americans closed every entrance. They closed everything. They were so afraid of spies and so on, and they had many spies inside already.
Yeah.
Many Japanese and maybe Germans too. So they closed. We had for sometimes you couldn't get in. And I remember when we finally get the permission, we took a boat. I think it took 3 weeks to go to New Orleans. We stayed about 10 days in Panama, and it was hot.
Yeah.
Hot, awful.
It's the equator, yeah.
Very hot because there was never any climate. Then we were on the way. A German submarine stopped the boat, and I remember the German officer coming on board.
Really?
And they were not looking for people like us. They were looking to know what kind of
army or army.
Yes, or maybe if it was worth sinking or not sinking the boat. And
yeah. So the Germans were everywhere in the world.
Yes.
In the sea. And
yes. Especially they were very. They didn't want any boats getting food to France or so on, or arms also. Going to New York didn't bother them very much, but going to Europe would have been probably very different.
Mm-hmm.
So they just wanted to know where the boat was going, and
you remember seeing him?
yes, getting on the
ladder,
and the German submarine was a few meters.
And on New York, how you got into New York? From St. Louis?
No, New Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah.
It took us by train, I think, 2 days and a night. It's big.
Yeah.
America is a big country. And the trains were not very fast at that time. No, it was a long way.
Till you get to New York and your father was waiting for you.
Yes. And we kept that apartment even after my mother left and my father died. I stayed in the apartment.
In Manhattan?
In Manhattan. Very nice, 49th Street and 3rd Avenue. Very nice section. And I lived there with who became very good friend, Larry Katzman. He was here. Claire met him.
Really?
He was here a few months ago. Yes, with his wife. He directs. He has two things here. First, he is a cartoonist, making designs. His character is Nellie the nurse.
Nellie the nurse?
Yes, that's his character. And then...
and he's drawing for a paper, newspaper?
Yes, he writes, but his main job is the family, and he directs a production of, aerosol, the apparatus which you inhale.
Yeah.
That's they produce those, and I lived with him. I had not a bad time. We had two French girls who were stranded in New York, Jacqueline and Nicole. And we took them and we lived with them at 4. We had a very nice life for a few months. And they stayed, I think, when we went back to France. Afterwards, they stayed in the
Oh,
apartment.
it took how much time it took you to finish the college? A year or 2 years?
No, yes. La journey takes 3 years.
3 years?
Yes, but I did it in 2.5 because I took summer course. And
you wanted to join your mother in
I
Paris?
had to finish.
Yeah.
I had to, without the baccalaureate, you cannot do anything in France.
Yeah.
You cannot study, you cannot be a doctor, it's the main first step. And
but you learned already in English. The college was in English, not
no,
in French.
In first it's in the French school in Buenos Aires.
No, in Buenos Aires French school, and the college in United States
was English.
In
sure,
English, yeah.
Sure. And I had that, and I don't know how I got 6 months credit for something. I don't remember what. I finished very quickly the BA. I didn't have enough points to have a BS, so I took a BA, which was the same story. It was quicker, and there were languages were more important, so for me it was easier. I remember I tried at that time to enter medical school. You know, medical schools in America, first they are very expensive.
Yeah.
So I applied for, I don't know if it was Columbia or something else, and at NYU I needed a paper which said that I was that I had the necessary tests and so on to go to medical school.
Yeah.
So I took on my best suit. I went to the hairdresser to cut my hair, and when I came to there was when I went to one of the counselors, I was called for. He looked at me and then said nothing at the beginning, and then he said, "Why is your hair
so what?
So short?" And then why are you so well dressed?
Well dressed.
Yes. And he tried that to already, and I was completely upset.
Yeah.
That was not a good sign. It was already his way of testing me if, becoming a doctor, I would be able to face all types of situations.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Huh?
In a lot of medical schools, they do an interview today to
yes,
test what kind of person
he was trying to
he tried to, yeah.
Yes, and he succeeded in stabilizing me very quickly.
By the way, you learned the college you learned was in NYU or not?
Yes.
So, but this is in the Greenwich Village. It's in the village.
Yes.
It's not in the middle of the city.
No.
So you had to took
around Washington Square.
On Washington Square.
My
Right.
sister studied there.
Yes.
Her sister is now
No.
learning
That's
in
the one I studied.
Yeah.
It's a very nice situation with the
Yeah.
park in front.
Yeah.
With NYU. Yes. I still live there.
We've been there a few times because her sister is learning there. She finished a PhD in law, and after the PhD in law, she turned to learn movies.
Oh, movie?
Movies,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Directed movies. And
It's not the same thing.
totally different, yeah.
And she liked NYU?
Yeah, it's a sweet area with
Wonderful.
lots of small restaurants.
Yes,
and,
I remember that.
So he didn't accept you as a medical student because he was.
Well, I didn't go much any further. It was much too expensive, and that time finally I went back to France. So it was one I just tried to see if it was possible to study there instead of studying in Paris. In Paris, the university is free. That doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
So I don't think we could have paid for the university anyway. But it's a good
experience, huh?
very good experience. How destabilize somebody. That's what
Pictures from the army.
Yes, from mine. You certainly won't recognize me.
כמו שעידו לא התקבל לחיל אוויר.
כן, סתם קשקוש. כשלא רוצים מישהו, זה קשקושים.
מה היא שאלה אותו? כמו עם הדלת, נכון? למה אתה...
אבל היא כבר לפני זה החליטה.
לפי מה?
הוא כתב מבחן של אישיות, הוא עבר אצל הבוחנים עם הסלייד סימולטור, הם כתבו שהוא עזב וחזר ועזב וחזר. הוא עבר מהרבה מבחנים. אתה מצלם אותה?
כן.
אתה בטוח שהוא בתוך התמונה?
אני מקווה.
תסתכל.
כרגע אני לא יכול.
אני חושבת שהוא קצת מחוץ.
זה זווית מוזרה, אבל זה שומע. I need my glasses to recognize where you are.
Well, I don't know.
Lieutenant Paculus.
Yes, Paculis.
Paculis, yeah.
The Greek.
A Greek guy.
Yes.
1945.
45.
And I won't be able to find you here.
No. I don't even remember where I am. I need my glasses too.
It's a good excuse for me. It's my excuse. But,
They all look alike. I think I'm here, but I'm not sure.
Let me see.
I don't think so.
I need a
Valuable.
glass and maybe even a magnifying glass.
It's not important. It's not important.
Take a look. And this is medical school already.
Yes. So here I can see myself.
Where?
I had a little more hair. Yes.
בקושי אפשר לראות משהו.
And this is in
אז
France?
הוא מצביע על השני מימין למעלה?
Yes, that is one of many different. You change every 6 months.
לא, בצד השני בכלל.
בצד הזה?
כן.
השני מלמעלה.
לא, שורה שנייה.
שורה שנייה?
תראו אותו פה.
זה הציני.
אוקיי.
No, that's easy. If
this one?
Yes.
And here, what do you think I
I don't remember. That's fine.
Where are your glasses? These are nurses, all the women in the picture?
Huh?
These are nurses?
What?
Nurses?
Yes, the chief nurse. Huh?
There are a lot of women, they are not doctors. All these women are medical doctors?
No, the nurse has a, you see, they have a, they have a coif.
But there were women doctors?
Yes, sure.
Yes, sure.
This one here, see? That's the woman. But the next door, that's the nurse.
The nurse, okay.
Professor Azorad, specialist in, what we did one day, he was an orphan. Specialist in diabetology. And one night, some of the doctors, he was so awful, he wanted, when we made an observation, we had to write well, and he could. And he made us do it again and again till it was
written perfectly.
Yes.
Okay.
So one day he calls a group of students.
Viva, מה קורה? ויבה, מה קורה?
You don't reserve
the place?
Place? I think you can do it here.
Oh, the train was pretty empty.
Yes? Faut qu'elle réserve le train aussi ou pas? Non.
Non.
La loi. La loi. Ceci right. The big crowd. Very nice way. Saint-Nazaire, non.
The water is very deep, so
It's a rich town.
many ships can come in.
A rich town because of the commerce of this.
Yes, it used to be a big slavery center.
Slavery?
Yes,
En Africa.
they did
Commerce triangulaire.
they did the trading of slaves. It was very well organized.
Oh, mais quelqu'un des... C'est vrai, j'ai vu ça. Je sais pas comment je vais faire ça. Mais je sais pas.
Ouais.
Yeah.
Les deux côtés. Are you going to Isieux? No, an island. Isieux.
You never went there with the boat from here?
No.
My little brother does this a lot, the air.
What?
My little brother, the right,
Huh?
and people in the air, on the right,
Kite surfing.
kite surfing.
Wow.
So my little brother does it a lot.
So I think by this car you go direct to Tel Aviv. It's not
I wanted you to tell me again, because I don't remember in details, what was the story, how you left Berlin with your family before the war.
Well, it was
you
my
went
father.
With your father and mother, yeah.
Yes, but he was, he had a very big job as a professor in the German university.
In Berlin?
Yes, and then it was La Charité, it was a big hospital. And, suddenly they told him that they didn't need him anymore.
Yeah.
And 33. So he took the decision immediately. So he left, and he was... I admire him because he left... we didn't have much money, and I think no real person in any foreign country to go to.
Yeah.
So we left for Belgium. Then it was the nearest, and then we stayed a few months in a small hotel in Belgium while he traveled around to find somebody for his research.
Research?
Yes, he was a searcher.
Researcher.
Yes, he was not a... And when he found some things, and he finally ended in Paris.
How old were you at that time?
Well, I left Germany, I was between 6 and 7. 6 and 7.
You were born in 1926?
25. December 25.
Yeah.
No, the worst thing I remember is happily my parents chose the Jewish school in Paris, because I remember still somebody introducing me in the class. The teacher said hello, sit there, and I sat there and I understood nothing.
Nothing. You didn't know French?
No,
French.
not a word.
Not easy.
Huh?
But as a young kid, you get along.
Yeah, surely. But at the beginning, I still remember getting into the school, sitting there, and feeling completely out of the world.
But the kid welcomed you?
Yes, it was a Jewish school. It helped.
And there were another immigrants, so-called immigrants. That
yes, there were others, and they knew the story of Germany.
Yeah.
More than other, so that helped. And what helped me a lot were the scouts.
Yeah. After school.
Well, the scout was a troop. It was the thing with the hat.
Yeah.
And they really had the chiefs there. They really were. There was a real welcome. It's a tradition anyway, and that helped me a lot because I was busy on weekends. I spent sometimes nights in a tent, and so on. So for my parents too, it was a big help that I wasn't at home, knowing nobody.
Yeah.
And that way, I made friends, and I felt slowly I began to be integrated.
You always pay a big price when you are an immigrant.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not easy.
No, but that helped me. The scouts helped me a lot. I never was out of a plan of a weekend moments when you're alone and when you have no friends, but you have so many friends that...
in the Scouts, yeah?
Yes.
And your mother, what did she do in Paris?
Well, my aunt was there with husband had a small, my uncle had a small factory, is a big word, a shop where he made clothes.
Yeah.
And my mother worked on the machine. And so...
and your father did good in the
slowly
research?
He finally found the man that helped us a lot was Mr. Vertheimer, who was the boss of Bourgeois, Chanel, big perfume.
Yeah.
And he had a lab out in Paris, and he put he engaged my father. So to work to do his.
So it wasn't medicine anymore. It was
no, it was not medicine.
Chemistry or something.
It was search. Yes.
And for how long you stayed in Paris?
Till the war.
Till 1938.
More than that, 39.
39.
Yes. When the war was declared and the Germans starting to break through, we did like all people in Paris. We hit the road. We had a little car. And, that's where we met. My father was the doctor of Mr. Zogu, the chief of Albany at that time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Albany at that time was occupied by Mussolini. He went in, and so the president of
Albany is a small island?
No, it's a small country.
Near Greece?
Yes,
Albania.
near Greece.
Yeah, near Greece, yeah.
But on the inner sea.
Yeah.
And he was thrown out by Mussolini, and he fled to France. And when he fled to France, he had all the
connection.
Yes, no, he had a car and a little trailer, and he had two men with guns.
Yeah,
and
guarding
there
him.
was all the treasury of Albany there.
Really?
And he said to my father, look, why don't you come with me? And so we went with him. He took us through the different barriers to Bordeaux. Then he went to England, and he said, you want to come with me? And we were with friends of ours, very good friends, who had an Argentine. The wife was born in Argentina. She had an Argentinian passport.
Yeah.
So somehow my father knew somebody from the embassy there, so we got an Argentinian visa. And we left slowly through Spain and Portugal.
And from Portugal,
to Buenos Aires.
And then
we took the
by
boat.
ship.
Oh yes, 10 days.
10 days, right? And at that time you were already 16? 7 and 6? No, 12,
yes.
13?
13, 14.
You had your bar mitzvah in Paris already?
I had no bar mitzvah.
No bar mitzvah?
No.
And in Buenos Aires? Again you started...
We went to the French school.
The French school?
The French school in Buenos Aires. And then my father was called by the same boss he went to the United States. Because he was called there by this Mr. Vertheimer. And then it was 41, the war with Japan started, and nobody could enter the United States. They stopped all types of immigration. So till we got a visa to go there, it took 2 years. So we stayed 2 years more in Argentina.
You and your mother or your father?
My mother.
And he was already there?
No, he was in the United States.
Yeah.
And, we had difficult times because we were always short of money. He sent something, and he didn't send something. He had not much either.
And your mother continued to work as a...
No, my aunt and my uncle stayed in, they fled to Switzerland.
Ah.
And they were in a camp first. And
what camp?
Gurs. It was a camp for foreigners.
In Switzerland?
No, that was in Paris, in France.
Yeah.
Just the beginning of Vichy. So they could leave this camp, and then they fled to Switzerland. They paid someone to bring them over.
Where to Switzerland?
Oh, I don't know. But anyway, on the border, some were accepted, some were refused. But they were accepted, and we got in Buenos Aires, we got a cable that they were there, so we sent money. And they stayed in Switzerland for quite some time, till they could go back to France after the war.
Yeah. 3-4 years.
Yes. They were taken over by the Red Cross.
They did some help, the Swiss.
Yes.
Bon, je rappelle le lago.
Ouais.
Qu'on sache si on va à Nantes.
Faut que je reste ici. I have to go somewhere. 2 minutes.
צריכה להוציא מהמחסן שם, היא משפצת והיא צריכה עזרה בלסתובב.
נכון. ויבה! כלב טוב.
יכולה להכניס את החלב לא מקרה חזרה?
כן. אני מקליט אותו.
כן, ראיתי, וזה לא לקח לי את החלב.
אז אל תקחי.
אבל זה צריך להיות במקרה.
טוב, תקחי. איזה יום יפה.
On Monday, otherwise we have somebody who puts the bread there, but not today. On Monday they don't.
Tired after Sunday.
L'herbe est haute et épaisse, donc je repars une deuxième fois. Il n'y a plus de fil ici, hein, on va pouvoir traverser comme ça.
Ah bon, bien.
Ah!
Hello! Young man.
Yeah, she wakes you up in the 7 a.m.?
8.
Oh, hey.
Came in 8.
She was nice today.
Yeah. It's a man.
It's a man. In Israel, it's always woman.
Yes, here too, but now it's a...
Good.
Took the job. Certainly it's a woman's job,
$10 minimum.